Log day 444, the most magical of numbers. No, that's 7. Yeah.
Morning. It's Tuesday, which means for you it's Writerly Wednesday, and today I wanted to talk about taking criticism. Mostly in writing, but considering some of the YouTube comments I've been getting lately, it could just be a general discussion. I was gonna go climbing, I thought this morning with Natasha, but she couldn't go climbing until like 2:30, and I'd already kind of made plans for the afternoon to go to Pere Lachaise. So this morning is dedicated to admin work and errands. Like I gotta go to some administrative offices and drop some stuff off, as well as mail some postcards. So that's, ooh, we could add cats to those postcards though while we're here.
And as a surprising turn of events, I got something done today. Criticism is one of those things that none of us like to receive. I don't think anybody actually actively really is like, I want to be criticized today. But it is one of those things that, especially if you put yourself out in public in a creative way, or well, in any way really, you're bound to receive it, right? We kind of generally critique each other on how we dress, how we behave, those kinds of things anyways, but we're talking about like receiving criticism of our work. And while we're walking, here's a new one for you, Bugs Bunny. Score! What I should do is read for you my very first 1-star review on Amazon for the very first book that I wrote. But I'll link to it. I actually wrote a long post about it on Reddit once as well. It was pretty harsh, and actually it's one of those crushing moments where you're like, oh, somebody hated my book enough not only to rate it 1 star, but to write like a really long review as to why it only deserved that star, maybe not even that star, and you're just like, oh. To be fair, as I read that review, they had a lot of good points about shortcomings of my work. Maybe I didn't learn a ton, but I definitely learned a few things where I'm like, wow, I really need to do better. Maybe I should just find that review and read it for you guys. When somebody criticizes your work, you only have a few options, really. You can get defensive, get upset, or you can ignore it, or you can try to learn from it and engage with it in that way. Now, with books, you really don't want to engage your critics. It's not really, that's a pretty big faux pas. If you're a writer, you should never engage your critics. It's just one of those things, there's kind of an unspoken rule. Stay away from that. You want to do the best you can to improve your work, to learn from it as you go, but try to stay away from it. And I'm not advocating that you should go read your reviews. I tend to stay away from reviews in general, just because I will solicit feedback from people who I trust, and I don't necessarily need to be reading all of the feedback or all the criticisms in the world about what I've done, because I already know that I need to work on it. I don't need to be told that 50 million times in small and petty ways. That said, if you find criticism that's actually fairly articulate, that dives into a real problem that you're facing with your writing, it's good to be reminded of those things and to learn from it. I don't think any defensive is good or helpful at all. If you get defensive, it just kind of puts you on the wrong foot, gives them the upper hand, and kind of makes you look like a jerk. Similarly, ignoring it, definitely a better option, but we all need feedback. We all need criticism. We all need to hear what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, so we can refine what we're doing and make it better. And similarly, that's kind of where, that's where I come from on the whole idea of actually listening to your criticism and trying to improve your work based on what you're hearing. Because there's almost always a nugget of truth in there, even if it's not, there's an exception. I think YouTube comments can be the exception to that. As usual, the medical office gives me hope for humanity, or at least hope for the administrative services in France. Those ladies are so nice. 1 step away. I got almost all my paperwork in. There's one more thing to email in and I am square, as far as I know. For those of you who are unaware, I am still in the process of getting my medical card. It's called the Carte Vitale. I'm kind of in the process of getting all of that squared away, along with a bunch of other Social Security nightmares within settling in France, but I'm getting really, really close. So we're very, very close. think that's my philosophy in general, is that there's pretty much always a nugget to find in criticism. But criticism and abuse are completely different things. When people are just shouting their abuse for whatever reason that they have, like vitriol and hate and whatever, that's when it's time to just ignore it. And there's no sense in engaging it at that point. Which again is just my opinion, but I think YouTube comments are really where everything's active now. I don't have any books that are being actively reviewed right now. So the YouTube comments, like generally, I'd say like 95% of what happens on YouTube with my videos, with my channel, positive. It's really fun, actually. You guys are a ton of fun to talk to. I really enjoy engaging in the comments, and I try to respond to everything, with the exception of people being exceptionally mean or abusive. I say exceptionally because a lot of times, actually, I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And so a lot of times there are comments that come across very rude, inappropriate, things that are like, what the heck are you talking? And I try to give people the benefit of the doubt by like responding, seeing what they really mean. And most of the time, it just turns out that they were sleepy, drunk, or, you know, English isn't their first language. And that happens a lot. While we're here, there's a Pac-Man eating this sign. But anybody that gets downright abusive or like straight up death threaty, I've only had one death threat so far, but any of those kinds of things, I just go ahead and block those people right away because there's no need for that. Like, we don't need that around. And because I want to continue to encourage people to be active in comments, and I want to continue to engage in a really positive way and build something of a community. Like, I want people that watch my vlog ultimately to communicate with each other and to talk with each other and to enjoy more than just interacting with me, hopefully. And the only way you're going to do that is if you cultivate a safe space for people to come and just participate, which means that things like criticism, you're more than welcome to bring it. But if you're mean about it, or if it's just absolutely asinine, I might not respond, because that kind of stuff is just kind of like, well, I don't really know what to say to that, so I might not engage with that. But the philosophy on the like blocking people comes back to wanting to cultivate a safe space, like I said. And if you're in a position where, let's say you have a group of friends and you meet every Thursday for drinks at the same bar, you have fun, you laugh, and it's just a place to like sit around and talk about whatever you want to talk about, but you feel relaxed, you feel good. And then one person brings kind of a jerk friend along one week. Maybe they're rude or insensitive, or they just kind of ruin the atmosphere a little bit. If that person keeps showing up and nobody says anything, even if people don't say anything, eventually people are just going to start fading out, right? They're not going to come every Thursday anymore. And all of a sudden your group is going to fall apart because you left that one person sitting around being a total jerk. So either you got to say something or maybe not invite that person. Similarly, I'd say like 95, 99% of the comments I get are actually really positive, really fun. And even if sometimes they're a little bit like weird or out there or poorly written, doesn't necessarily mean the person behind them had any ill intent behind it. And so that's why it's like, no, let's keep engaging with that. And that's what I want to cultivate. I want to continue to cultivate a place where people can hang out, have fun, and not worry that somebody's going to pop up and start lambasting them for no good reason, or any reason at all. So, yeah. So all that to say, whether you are criticizing my writing or criticizing my vlog, it's welcome. Just make sure that it's constructive. Similarly, if you're receiving criticism on anything that you're doing, try your best not to take it personally. Try to separate yourself from your work as much as you can. Look at it objectively and think, wow, is there anything that I can learn from this? Is there anything that I can take from this to improve what it is I'm doing? And if not, then throw it away. You know, and if it is impossible to separate from yourself because they're attacking you personally, or, you know, something along those lines, well then, yeah, get rid of it. Thing is, you don't need that in your life. At those times where you have a hard time accepting criticism that you receive and you can't, even if it's good criticism, you really can't take it, don't take that on. Like, if it's destroying you, if it's overburdening you, then don't hang on to that, because if it's ruining your day, if it's making you stressed out, if it's making it harder to create or paralyzing you, then you really need to just ignore it. And that's totally fine too. I think like there are times in our lives where we can't take any criticism at all, and to take it would be to leave ourselves paralyzed, exposed, not able to continue to push forward. And if that's the cost of accepting criticism, then don't accept it. Then just ignore it. don't like publicly reject it in some horrible way, but definitely give yourself a break. Gustav. Hey, Mandy. Hi, Gustav. Oh, he's so cute. He's so cute. Okay, Gustav, we gotta calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. I can't do this with one hand, so there we go. Good boy. And then I got to the Peloton, which was great, but found out that I don't have my power cable, which is not good, because considering my battery lasts all of like 5 minutes, means I can't get done what I needed to get done. Dang it. Alright, on my way to Pere Lachaise now, which is the largest cemetery in Paris. It's huge. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been there in a really long time. So as you voted on Patreon, speaking of Patreon yesterday, so I shall do. And now it's time to go see some really, really big tombstones. That one's right by the exit if you're here. Just come check it out and then, you know, go on inside. We'll go on inside here in a second. I'm just gonna go find Carla. And I don't know who else is actually showing up, so it'll end up being a little bit of a wandering group. The tombs that I wanna find today are gonna be Moliere, Jim Morrison, and Oscar Wilde. Those are the three that I actually wanna find myself. And then there's so many names in there that you might recognize, like Chopin, Chopin. Moliere is one of the ones that was moved in early as actually a PR campaign, because when Napoleon opened this place back in, I think, 1804, nobody really wanted to be buried here. It was too far out of the city. The Catholics didn't want to be buried here because it hadn't been blessed by the church. And so they ended up burying a handful, like reburying a handful of really famous people out here. And pretty much immediately after that, everyone was like, ooh, I want to be buried in Pere Lachaise. And that's kind of the story of how this place got started. Where's your sister? If you're taking the metro, line 2 will get you there. The Gambetta bus, line 69 is what I use to get right to the entrance. And then there's the Space Invader right here. I don't know how I missed this one, but I don't even know if I can get it from this far. They say there are over 1 million people buried here. And if you include, I think this structure, I don't remember where it is. There's a place where they move bones if they don't continue to pay for their plots. And there are 2 to 3 million people buried here in total. But actually buried in the cemetery is about 1 million. But the way that they save space is they actually bury families on top of each other. So they actually will open caskets and like add a shelf and then put another person on top of so they like stack bodies within caskets. So that's how they...
So they like leak over each other?
That's so you can go in and like offer a prayer. So you go inside and like leave flowers and then you can kneel and take a prayer and then... That's where the vampires hang. Yeah. There's like over 100 meters, it's like 110 acres, I think, of land. This place goes on forever.
Demon Jay.
Can't all be...
Jay. Oh my god, Jay, did you get...
This guy's name is one of the hardest metro stops to be able to say. Rochechua. Right now, saying please not to kiss it. All right, ladies, looks like you're not allowed to kiss this anymore. Sorry. Nobody knows where Moliere's grave is. This is it's supposed to be right about here. Anyone's guess. Found it finally. It's hidden away in here. This guy's writing tormented me in college. One here. I think we've already gone by it like twice, but we're not sure. At least I'm not sure. Around here somewhere. See the statue like leaning over like that? I think that's it. Ugh, I think this is it. We were just one path off. Yep, there it is. Oh, we walked by this.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
We totally did.
On the photos we saw, it was very, very pristinely white. So I guess they haven't taken photos of it for a while or cleaned it. Overall, a very successful Pere Lachaise visit. We only lost 2 people in there, Carla and her sister, so it was nice to hang out with them, but I guess who knows if they ever made it out, so yikes.